Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary. I am doing good. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Tuko hapa. We've missed a couple of days, 2 days or something like that, but it's okay. Kwa sababu, this is Labor Day weekend. So for those of you who live in the United States, you know what I'm talking about. Kesho kuna job. So mkule happy. But anyway, for all of you who are still watching in Kenya, if you're glued in, sorry, I would like to apologize on behalf of Manchester United fans who are not feeling good right now after losing to Liverpool 3-0. Watu Arsenali pia, I would like to apologize to you because you're disappointed yesterday. You lost, well, you drew 1-1 with Brighton. Watu wa Chelsea pia kama kawaida, we're going through it. 1-1 versus Crystal Palace at home. Not a good result. But nevertheless, it's Super Sunday. We are not going to talk about that. Let's get to the mada. Mada leo, we are just going to explore what's happening. Ruto in Nyanza, the reaction, what's been happening. I think I talked about this and it's been talked about. And I will just gloss over some things, a few things that people are not mentioning that I felt Morara, I think, mentioned something that I was thinking about, which he mentioned, and I will explore it in a few seconds. Also, Gen Z movement, is it dead? I see Taras, whatever her name is, whatever Taras her name, that lady, she's having an exchange with the Ogoda Gabriel. Gabriel has gone mute. gone numb. He's not talking about anything. He's not criticizing Ruto anymore. We have established that Gabriel Ogoda is probably working for Pio and I. So, you know, Pio and I is a CS in this Ruto government. So now we don't hear anything about Gabriel Ogoda. It's all praises and worship to the king from Sugoi, William Samoei Ruto. Anyway, we are going to mention also other things that are surrounding that. Okay? So please, if you're joining us right now, joining me, or everyone else who will be joining this podcast, this talk, this session, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet. And like the video if you're already subscribed and you're just tuning in. Tuanze. Okay, let's get started. Kalonzo Musyoka. Let's start with Kalonzo Musyoka. You can see his picture in the thumbnail. He is anajiita the the official opposition. We're just going to gloss over this because we already talked about this. There's nothing much happening. But the fact that he's calling himself, he's trying to associate himself with the Gen Zs is hilarious. We know what this guy is up to. He's already talking about, oh, I am going to be the best candidate suited to beat Ruto in 2027. Who is talking about 2027? Who is talking about 2027? Nani. Let's relax. Let's talk about something else. Let me when I hear about Kalonzo Musyoka, but anyway, tuanze. What should we start? I'll start with Morara Kebaso Senior. This young man he's kind of mocking Ruto and exposing Ruto's lies too at the same time. I find him more refreshing, authentic, and more effective than the likes of Casmuel, whatever the case is. I think Morara is doing something that, even the State House don't know how to deal with him, okay? They're trying to call him a liar, but because they know how effective he is, he's mocking the president at the same time. It's funny how he's doing it, and he's very, 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 he has his unique style of exposing this government, which I think is refreshing. I am a huge fan. I like it. I haven't watched most of his videos, but I like the one in Kisumu, particularly after Ruto went to Kisumu. By the way, the statements that Ruto made in Kondele was absolutely abominable. He should not get away with what he said. He should not. Let me play you, and I will get started with this because this got the hair on my back raised. Ujamaa, he cannot come to Kondele and say what he said. I know he thought it was funny, but it was not funny by any means. Let's get started. Let me just show you what I mean by this, because this is not. No. What Kisumu, No, 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 no. No. Here it is. This is what I was referring to. Just reminded me of that. Ebu nianze na hiyo. Let me start with that in particular, because that speech in Kondele, ati nyinyi watu wa Kondele, ni nyinyi. Ati mwanzo nyinyi niko na shida na nyinyi, and he went on. Let me start with that. No. Ruto cannot be serious. Cannot be serious. Let me start with that. Karibu sana. Clean Black Sneakers, nice seeing you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. Must not give up into bad. Yes, I hope they don't. Let me play this clip, then I will explain to you why this is extremely offensive to Ruto. It's actually the hubris of this man is unmatched. This guy needs to go.
Kumbe hapa inaitwa nini? Watu ya Kondele. Kumbe ni nyinyi. Kumbe ni nyinyi. Bana. Kwanza mimi niko na kesi kubwa na nyinyi watu wa Kondele hapa. Haki ya Mungu, nyinyi mmenitesa sana. Nyinyi watu wa Kondele nyinyi. Sikizeni. Mukiendelea kunitesa, nitawashtaki kwa baba. Na mukizidi, nitawashtaki kwa Mungu. Sasa watu wa Kondele, sawa. Si mimi nilikuja hapa. Si mnajua vile mlinifanya. Hata sikuamini ni nyinyi. Yaani nyinyi huwa wangwana namna hii. Bara.
Okay, let me explain why this is so offensive. Hold on for a second. Just a year ago or early this year, when ODM were calling for protests, I don't know if any of you remember, but it was in Nyalenda and Kondele. Those are places that are notoriously known in, if you live in Kisumu, you know that. Nyalenda, Kondele, Obunga, Mamboleo, Kisumu CBD before you get there. What else? Makasembo, not so much. But anyway, these are places that are notoriously known to be where people actually come out when there's a protest. And after the atrocities that happened, okay, after Ruto, I don't know if it was through his direct orders to the police force that went there and brutalized the people of Kisumu, Nyalenda being a hotbed. We can go back up to 2007. We can go back up to 2017. The people who caught much of the administration's anger, even when this Azimio folks lost and called for protest last time, it was Nairobi and Kisumu. And in Kisumu, particularly in Nyalenda, where people were brutalized, people of Kisumu and Kondele shot down under the watch of this president. And he came out there in Kondele shamelessly, saying without batting an eyelid, ati nyinyi watu wa Kondele mmenipatia shida sana. Because he knows what the security forces have done in the past 14 years, since when he was deputizing Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency. He understands Kondele has always been a hotbed of protest, and the casualties were high. in Kondele. So he's acknowledging that. He's the very person who was lying to you, telling you that he does not know anything about abductions. And you know what the saddest part is? I understand most of those people were paid 500 shillings, 200 shillings, or whatever shillings they were paid. But Raila Odinga is numb about this. Raila Odinga, who called for this mandamano, ask the people of Kisumu, ask the people of Kondele, ask of people of Nyalenda, ask the people of Mamboleo and Obunga and so forth to come out and protest against this regime that he called illegitimate. And the majority of the victims of gunshot wounds, death, abductions, maiming were people from Kondele and Nyalenda. Ruto acknowledges this by saying, nyinyi watu wa Kondele, mwanzo niko na kesi na nyinyi. Making it clear that he understands that Kondele is one of the hotbeds in Kisumu. And he understands what happened there. When Uhuru Kenyatta sent Mungiki in Kisumu, who were masquerading as the police forces, majority of the casualties were from Kondele. Kisumu, if you are from Kisumu, you know what I'm talking about. Just like it was in Nairobi and Kibera. But in Kisumu, it was Kondele. This past Maandamano that happened, majority of the casualties came from Nyalenda. You know what happened in Nyalenda. People getting yanked out of their houses and brutally shot in daylight and hacked to death. You remember that? And Raila Odinga didn't even go to Kondele or Nyalenda to hold a vigil. He went to Karen and met Uhuru Kenyatta and Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest of his clowns, pretending to be standing firm with the people of Nyalesh and Kondele. Kondele people living in Kondele have suffered so much in the hands of Raila Odinga, Ruto, and Uhuru Kenyatta. And to me, this is a confirmation that Ruto knows the kind of atrocities that has happened in Kondele, given the historical resistance against his regime that he was deputizing, not only in the past regime, but in the present regime. And it's a shame that 500 shillings makes people forget and go clap and applaud at any nonsense that's coming out of this man's mouth. It is a shame. It's a tragedy, actually. It's beyond embarrassing. Get anybody from Kisumu will tell you. Anytime there's a Mandamano in Nyanza in Kisumu County, Kondele is one of the places that actually is known, notoriously known. I'll play it again just for you get the idea. If you're joining this, please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I will play this again because to me, when I heard that, it just hit me that this man actually understands that Kondele is one of the hotbeds known historically to be resistant area. They are opposition stronghold. I call it opposition because historically, the people of Nyanza province have always been on the opposition side politically. Their politicians, who they deem as their leaders, have always been on the opposition side. And so when they tell them to come out and protest, they do so. Unfortunately, their leaders led by Raila Odinga, has misled them. The pogrom that has happened in Nyanza province, in particularly Nyalenda, Obunga, Kondele, is well documented. Even the insufferable Babu Owino will tell you there's something called Kondele Defense Force. I'll play it once more so you can get the idea. This man understands. He's well aware, cognizant of the fact that the people of Kondele are known, have a reputation against the ruling government, who always are at odds with them. And they are known to be great protesters against what they deem as oppression, which is oppression. And they've paid heavy price for what they've done. And what does Ruto do? He goes there, stands up in his sunroof and say, nyinyi watu wa Kondele, mwanzo mmenisumbua sana. Raila is nowhere to be seen. Oh, he has bigger dreams. Hizo kifo zilifanyika Nyalenda, Kondele, those are small issues. Raila is running for AU. And half of you dimwits think that he's going to be the president of Africa. A position that he's not going to win anyway. The Djibouti candidate has consolidated all the Islamic nations in Africa to vote for him. So good freaking luck. But no, Raila Odinga has bigger plans. He can never go to Nyalenda or in Kondele and condole with the families of the young men and women who always come out to protest whenever they call for a mandamano. Never. Like I said, the last episode of the people who were brutalized, yanked out of their houses in Nyalenda and in Kondele, Raila never went to Nyalenda and to hold a vigil or a service to commemorate the comrades that we lost in Nyalenda or in Kondele. Raila and Kalonzo and Uhuru went to Karen, 2 steps away from his doorstep, in the bourgeois neighborhoods where they sip wine, they get served cocktails with waitress and waiters who have white gloves, and they give fancy speech talking about freedom and how they have been fighting for freedom. Raila has never fought for anything. Same as Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. And this is a confirmation by Ruto that he understands the significance of that place called Kondele. Kondele, Manyata, it's right next to each other. For those of you who have been in Kisumu, you know what I'm talking about. Kondele, Manyata, and then when you go down like you're going to Busia, you'll go to Mamboleo. But I'm talking about Kondele is always the heartbeat of Mandamano. And Ruto comes and acknowledges the fact that he knows that is the bedrock of opposition when it comes to resistance against this oppressive regime and the regimes before that. Unfortunately, the fakers who have been egging the people of Kondele and Nyalenda on to go to the protest and die have abandoned them. They're telling you they're now in the government. Don't worry about what happened. We don't care about your family members. We are now in the government. And guess who is going to be profiting from that? Not the people of Kondele, not the people of Nyalenda, not the people of Kisumu County as a whole. I will play that one more time so you can understand the significance of this, what I'm saying. So many young folks, brave young men. These men were brave. I've stayed in Kisumu County. I know how brave these men and women are. And they lost their lives in vain. Gen Z or not. And they've lost their lives way before Gen Z became Gen Z. So when Ruto comes out and say he does not know anything about abductions, that's a lie. I will play it one more time for you to get what I'm trying to talk about. If you don't understand what I'm talking about and the significance of this statement by Ruto, then there's no hope for you. You are better off doing something else with your life than care about any kind of justice or freedom or liberation of the African Kenyan struggle. One more time for you to get it.
Hapa inaitwa nini? Watu ya Kondele. Oh. Kumbe ni nyinyi. Kumbe ni nyinyi. Bana. Kwanza mimi niko na kesi kubwa na nyinyi watu wa Kondele hapa. Haki ya Mungu, nyinyi mmenitesa sana. Nyinyi watu wa Kondele nyinyi. Sikizeni. Mukiendelea kunitesa, nitawashtaki kwa baba. Na mukizidi, nitawashtaki kwa Mungu. Sasa watu wa Kondele. Sawa sawa. Si mimi nilikuja hapa. Si mnajua vile mlinifanya. Hata sikuamini ni nyinyi. Yaani nyinyi huwa wangwana namna hii. Bana.
And the sad thing right now about that, after Ruto went to Nyanza, like I said in my previous video, there's this artificial, virtual internet war that's going on. It's a tribal division where a majority of pro-government people are trying to concoct this perceived difference between the people of Luo Nyanza and the rest of the country. People are saying, you guys, you've been bought. A few of your CSS are in the government now, and you're out there happy to see Ruto. And the paid Luo bloggers like the useless Gabriel Ogoda is out there, and Onyango Law and whatever the case is, they're out there talking about, you guys voted for Ruto, so don't tell us anything. And the Kalumas are telling us, yeah, we've never been in government since 1963 or whatever the case is. You Kikuyus, you've always derailed our goal, our dreams. So now we are clinging on to... I'm not making up stuff. This is what your CS of Treasury actually said in public. That's how sad the state of these affairs of Kenya is. That's how sad it is. And this difference, this rift is being created by these bloggers, government paid bloggers, and they're paid from the both sides to create this difference between, oh, the Luo people and the... Nobody in his... I say this. Nobody from Ruto In Nyanza in his right freaking mind would support Ruto. They do not. I can understand the payments. I can understand why they took the 500 shillings and went to clap and applaud Ruto. I showed you the videos on my previous live of people saying, heckling Ruto. I know that cannot be highlighted by these bloggers. But the picture they're trying to paint to you is that, oh, now watu wa Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, wako kwa box. They're now supporting Ruto because Raila is being supported by Ruto. And now they're at odds with Gachagua and the people of Mount Kenya. Even Junet, when he was making his speech, was trying to highlight that. And they're doing this because they want to divide you. They were shocked to death when the young folks, the Gen Zs, said, we are tribeless, leaderless, and partyless. That is a combination that will take them out. And they understood that. It threatened them to the core. It shook them to the core. And they had to come together quickly and reinforce this tribal, historically tribal division that we've had in Kenya. They know it's an emotive issue, and they want to highlight it and remind you every time you go to your X, you go to your Facebook, you go to your... They want to... That's why you have people like Kaluma, Robert Alai, Oguda, who are shamelessly bragging about being Luos, being part of the government. That is the aim. And they're using the freaking kids like Kasmuel to tell you that now you cannot just go to Maandamano and claim that you're leaderless, partyless, and all that stuff. You have to submit to a what? To a collective. And you see Gaucho, the tribalist hired goon by Raila Odinga, has co-opted Kasmuel. And they were applauding him when he was saying, oh, you know what? We need structure in this Gen Z. I am the leader now. I saw a clip of Boniface Mwangi talking about, oh, now the most important thing is, and he had his pinky nail painted, talking about, oh, now you have to register to vote for 2027. Make sure you vote. Mwache kuongea, to vote so we can remove Ruto. The fight is no longer, let's remove Ruto. That's why I'm telling you, these people are fake. Fakers. Paid people to pretend. The focus is no longer, let's remove Ruto. If you want to know who's fake, notice anyone who says, tungoje 2027. Because 2027 means or suggests that we are going to give Ruto how many more years from now? 3 more years to continue to brutalize you into submission. Case in point, 2032, ndio ataondoka. Case in point. See, you can't make this thing up. This is orange juice for those of you who are wondering. Wonder not. Listen to Mbadi. Listen to Mbadi. Mbadi is shameless. Here's Mbadi. He was speaking Luo, then he will say in English. For those of you Luo speakers, please help your friends who are not Luos to interpret. You'll get what he's saying.
Prime Minister of the Republic. Okio, anda no kanyando doke wangi. Nyando doke wangi kozokro wangi. Kawatio gigi wudala ngomaben. Kwa ndiyo konyalo ya ngomaben. Waduo kunyande wangi kozokwa duo. Ninasema kukaribisha hapa. Hakuna kitu kingine nimesema, Your Excellency. Nimesema tu tumekukaribisha. Unajua sasa mimi kazi yangu si kucheza siasa. Kazi yangu ni kusikiza ile wanga anataka. Ukisema ni ndio, mimi naandika cheki.
That's the tragedy of our nation. That's the CS of Treasury speaking like that in public. That's the tragedy of Kenya. That's the tragedy. It's a tragedy. And people are busy laughing and clapping. And Laban is telling us Ruto has galvanized a team for his win. Hashtag former code coalition in the Pentagon. I'll reply to you in a second. I will. I like something that Omosh Jakababa said. Yes, he's seems like a lunatic, but once in a while he speaks sense. This was a response to
kusaidia watu. Unaona mtu anamuka asubuhi na wanaume. Ulizaliwa ukaoa. Tafadhali angalia mambo ya nyumba yako. Hao wanasema watu kusaidia watu. Unaona mtu anamuka asubuhi na mimi naona Ruto sio mbaya. Sisi ni wabaya. Ruto na kunyanyasa unatoka kwa nyumba yako saa 12. Muda kwa gari wewe umesimama unapiga makofi. Ati Ruto na unaumia kumbavu wewe. Hata muna adabu. Yaani mwana anakuambia uongo na umesimama unasikia. Ruto sio mbaya, sisi ni wabaya. Mngekataa kwenda huko, angalia peke yake. Anakuambia nitafanya. Wanasema unaambia utafanya. Aende Mgori atenge. Aende Homa atenge. Aende Siaya atenge. Keza ukisubi atatenga. Na unapiga makofi. Kutenga. So William Samoei Ruto wenye walidanganya Homa ni wale tu walikuwa Migori. Wenye udanganya Migori ni wale tu ndio walikuwa Siaya. Sisi wajinga. Nitafanya. Nitafanyia. Na wewe unapiga makofi. Bwana, kati ya maskini na tajiri ni kama usiku na mchana. Wewe unatolewa kwa nyumba asubuhi na mapema. Ati Ruto anakuja, aenda kwa barabara. Hujakula hata kitu. Ati unaambiwa aende karibishe Ruto. Mbunge amemsiana kuambia. Anatengeneza jina yake sio yako. Ruto aone kuna watu. Mpigie makofi. Akupea 200 uli kwa nyumba hata kuchukua milioni. Anakutoa kwa nyumba na kupea 200. Anatengeneza kwa hiyo 200 yako anaenda kutengeneza bilioni na jina yako. Mwambie bwana Ruto ni mbaya, kaa kwa nyumba. Akuja hapa Nairobi ama hapa Jakaranda. Tangaza siku nakuja Jakaranda. Ati sisi tukuje. Ati nitafanyia. Mtafanya karibu. Ati bwana jika kama hiyo. Sisi wajinga bwana. Mbona nakwambia hata kufanya na unakubali? Afanye kwanza. Ruto kuwa president ya Kenya. Nimesikia mwingine hapa anasema ati 2027 tunapigia Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka kwa. Nani anakuambia Kalonzo na Ruto wako tofauti? Mwanasiasa ni mwanasiasa bwana. Hata maybe yeye Ruto ya Kalonzo zingine za kwa hata kushinda ya Ruto. Hakuna bwana, mwanasiasa ni mtu uongo. Na uongo wako nao kwa akili. Na sisi ndio tunanunua uongo. Mbona nakwambia yani umekubali kwenda kwa duka kununua uongo. Atakuja hapo msifu. Ati Ruto unafanya kazi na unalala njaa. Kumbafu wewe. Unalala njaa na kuja kupiga makofi. Oza. Ndio anatuambia tumilie msalaba ndugu ya Yesu. Toka nitoke. Akatoa ba. State House. Akaleta kanisa. Tunadhani. Bana akili yenu mnaogopa. Kama mnaogopa Ruto, mnatoa Ruto kweli. Gari moja mnaogopa. Hawa kama wanakaanga aje. Na ni mwanangu kanisa kwa president. Land Cruiser moja mnataka kukimbia. Moja tu hivi mnakimbia. Mr. Speaker, nikienda kumalizia Mr. Speaker. Tunajua vizuri. Niliona wakina Hassan Joho, Mbadi, Junet walipewa kazi. Na nilisikia Joho akisema vizuri ati William Samuel Ruto nilikuwa nimenunua suti. Nilikuwa na ngoja. Which means hao wenye wamechaguliwa, wenye Raila wapeleka jina yao. Wapeleka tumbo yao. Anaandika mtu yake. Utapiga hapa kelele moja kama ni Yesu arudi. Anaandika mtu yake. Na nimeona Rigathi Gachagua anasomea joka mtoto wake mbele ya watu. Atunajua hii ni president, usivaa kofia. Mwingine hapa sijui huyu penye pasi na lala Omabe nani? Mbadi. Anavaa kama chief, nani akona pesa? Vitu za aibu. Nimeona Mbadi yeye akona pesa. Anavaa nguo ya 30. Longi ya 30, nguo ya 60, hata mimi nimevaa kumliko. Anaendelea pesa na lala Omabe. Naumia.
The most important part of that speech is when he's saying, you're lining up to go receive 500 shillings, but uyo mwanabunge, he's going to make billions of you going there to clap at Ruto. And that's a very powerful point. I'll show you how cheap people are being bought. Like I said, I do not blame some of these actions, because if you have a bunch of youth who do not have anything to do, they don't have a job, they're hopeless, they've been finding a job. Alafu mtu anakuja na kuambia ati, I have 500 shillings for you to go pick up, just go clap there for Ruto for like what, 2 hours or whatever the case is, and you'll get your 500 shillings. Line up, piga laini uende uka be part of the whatever. You see what I'm saying? So that is an example. And I know some of you might say, watu walilipo wapi? I'll show you how people are being paid. Here is evidence. This is Siaya. Yeah, it is. People are lining up. What makes people do this? Njaa.
Wacha basi tuingie kwa line basi. Ya, unafika huyu mtoto, kuna mtoto hapa. Wewe. Hebu toka.
Anyways, you see how easy it is to manipulate the crowd. I mentioned this on my previous live. I said the people handing out these 500 shillings, they are dollar billionaires. 500 shillings to them is $5. That's peanuts. They can sacrifice $50,000, which will be what? 5 million or whatever. You do the math to give all these 50,000 people, 100,000 people to show up. And it is designed to create a narrative. So these people come out, they're very enthusiastic. Remember, majority of these guys do not have jobs. They've been trying to find jobs. They cannot find it. They can barely make 500 shillings in a day. So if somebody comes and, give them this proposition, hey, I'm giving you 500 shillings for you to show up for 2 hours at Oginga Odinga Road, listen to Ruto's speech, clap whenever he's speaking, and when you're finished, as a matter of fact, I'm paying you before you get here. In order for you to, if you get here, I'm paying you. All you have to do is just act like you're very enthusiastic about every bullcrap that he says, he spews. If I don't have a job and somebody's offering me that for a 2-hour gig, I'm taking it. But again, there's a bigger war that's being fought here. It's a propaganda war, because now you're going to show up, you're being paid that 500 shillings, you do not support this leader, but there'll be an aerial view of the people who showed up there, hundreds of people who showed up there, and they're going to post it on the social media and tell you, hey, listen, Nyanza people are with Ruto. Luo Nyanza are with Ruto. Raila ameingia box, and the Nyanza people are happy that wakina Badi, wakina sijui nani wako kwa government, so they are happy with Ruto's government, and Ruto will win in Nyanza in 2027. And that will be used to rig the votes in Nyanza province in case we get to 2027 without Ruto being removed before then. So tukifika 2027 watakuonyesha hizo picha. Unaona? Nyanza already wamefurahia Raila is with Ruto. Ruto ameingiza ma-CS wao kwa serikali. So there's no way Ruto can lose in Nyanza province. And while they're doing that, they're using their bloggers to reinforce that narrative. Oh, Wajaluo wako kwa serikali sasa. Mbadi was saying that there in Luo. Not much. He can feed you for like 2 days. And that's it. But you see, even Mbadi was using that. Since 1963 hatujawahi kuwa kwa serikali. Sasa huyu mtoto wa Mnandi amekuja hapa akatungiza. We've been friends for a long time. We've been neighbors. Nini. And then they used bloggers like Ogoda, Kaloma, Robert Alai, Onyangolo, and all these idiots to push the narrative and to start this fake war na watu wa mlima, so to speak. The Pauline Joroges, the sijui nani. Waseme, nyinyi si mko kwa serikali, nyinyi mmekula sana, ni tani yetu kukula, sisi hatujawahi kuwa kwa serikali. Then you as a viewer, without even analyzing what's going on, wewe umesha, you're looking at things as, unajua nini? Mimi ni mjaka. By the way, enyewe, sisi watu wetu hatuja, unaona vile walifanya nanio, Oginga Odinga. Yeah, I'm riding with this. Ama umetoka huko Central or whatever the case is, if you're unsuspecting, you say, hey, unajua nini? Mimi msapere. You know what? Jaluo, man, shit. Nika tumewachwa. Ruto ametuacha. Unaona vile anatreat nani? Gachagua. Enyewe, man, jaka, man. They are very... Sawe pia unaanza, you're falling into their bloggers bull crap. Ambao wanasema, nyinyi mmenunuliwa. Then you start to, hawa Jaluo, man, wamenunuliwa wenyewe. They're dumb. Cheki vile ati baba amepewa saa, amepromisiwa AU saa, angalia wamekubaliana na Ruto. But the fact is, majority of Luos are not buying into Ruto's bull crap. Majorities of Kikuyus are not buying into Ruto's bull crap anymore. That is the freaking truth. Lakini nyinyi you'll be caught up in this nonsense ambayo inafanyika hapa Twitter sphere. The same thing, I usually say this, every time the US election is iko karibu, utaona there'll be a lot of cases of racial tension that causes racial tension. Mara utaona picha imetokea, a bunch of black youth are beating up a white man, or a bunch of white people are beating up a black man. It is designed to evoke emotions. So if you're not doing your research, you'll be like, these are crisis actors that are doing this. It's the same thing. It's about to evoke your emotions. Ndio iwatoe kwa hiyo idea of having a tribeless, leaderless, and partyless Ninio and care about the issues. Because that was the biggest threat to them. Ndio maana unaona kina Kasmil wakakuja hapo wakaanza wanavaa suti wanajipresent as, now I'm the head of the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the leader. Because they're freaking paid. That's what their job was. We don't have a structure. Let's now have a structure. I'm the leader. And now, wezi kwenda maandamano hivi, you have to report to the collective. Who are you to determine that? That's what I'm saying. You see how the game is being played? Ndio maana unaona Twitter saizi wakina nani, Oguda is fighting everyone. Anasema, nyi wa Kikuyu msiseme kitu. If anything, nyi ndio mlimpigia, you voted for this Ruto. And others are being caught up. Wakina Gaito are being caught up. Asema, nyinyi watu wa Nyanza, you are cheap. Raila na promisiwa vitu hapa na wakina sijui pia wandaye, alafu mnaingia ati mmeshaanza kusupport Ruto. And when you read that, you get caught up into this bull crap, tribal nonsense, and you take a side. And that's exactly what they want. And that's exactly what they want. Because mkisha kwa divided hivyo, bas, kwani nini? Watafanya tribal calculation yao. Wamesha kwa divided, okay. Nitachukua watu wa Nyanza hapa, nitachukua watu wa sijui nini hapa, watu wa Mombasa hapa, and they win. Lakini mngeendelea na ile mambo ya tribeless, leaderless, partyless, boss, watu wangekuwa wanachujwa job kila siku. MPs juu wapi ametoka, MP everywhere, ufisaji naisha. Ruto has nothing to stand on, because even his predecessors, that's all they counted on. Politics was all about getting the tribal voting block that you can get. Watu wa Mount Kenya wakutane na Kalenjin, Kalenjin wakutane na sijui watu wa Coast, watu wa Coast wakutane na sijui watu wa Nyanza. That's how they did it. So ukianza kuleta hii idea ati sasa we are tribeless, leaderless and partyless, Charlie, you broke the code. Unafungua watu macho. You now want to, because if you do that, that means that Ruto is not guaranteed to get Nyanza province. Ruto is not guaranteed to get Mount Kenya vote. Ruto is not even guaranteed to get his backyard, because watu wa backyard wake watasema, you know what, Ruto, we ni mtoto wetu, lakini but our issues is not being addressed. So forget you. We are not voting you. He will have nothing to stand on. Na Ruto akitoka, guess what? Do you know why they want Ruto to stay in power? It is not even Ruto peke yake. Ruto akitoka kwa power, everyone is in danger. Because the people who come in, who care about the constitution, guess what, watakuja nani? Watakuja Raila, watakuja Uhuru, watakuja Martha Karua, watakuja Kalonzo Musyoka, watakuja Moi, watakuja Kibaki, and they will start asking questions about zile pesa hao watu wameiba. Charlie, hizo Mercedes ukiona wanatembea nao wakienda kukunywa, those money that is spent kwa harambe, pesa zile Hassan Joho anajifanya nao, zile za Mike Sonko anajifanya nao, unaona dota wake anazungumza ujinga hapo kwa Obina. That's the money you want to come for? Do you know how big of a threat that is? Unataka kuharibia lifestyle yao. 90% of these politicians wame gain from the system through corruption. Unataka kutoa Ruto atoke, muingize mtu ambaye who cares about constitution. Because it won't stop with Ruto. Msidanganywe. Ruto and Gachagua and all these idiots wakitoka kwa ninio, now wanasiasa watoke. Do you know what that will mean? Hiyo inamaanisha the books will be open from 1963 tuangalie nani ameiba pesa. Charlie, hizi ya biashara watu kama Oscar Sudi, well, they'll have nowhere to go. Watakuwa maskini hohehae, because they're not qualified to do anything except stealing government money and kuitumia kwa magendo ku open bar and bribe people like Nuru Okanga. It's a threat to them. You have to understand this. Ndio maana unaona these people are willing to work with watu wakina IMF na Meg Whitman na hii upuzi yote because it favors them, because wakina Meg Whitman, they know what they want from you. Hao wanataka resources zenu. They don't care. Mkitaka kuiba pesa, ukitaka kuchinja your own people, we don't care as long as your resources tukiitisha hii unatupatia immediately. Hakuna yes or if or about it. Anaambia Ruto, unataka nyakua, patia Adani hiyo airport, patia whoever. Corruption, unataka kuwao watu Gen Z, waue, we don't care. But tukikuja tukiambia ile gold iko hapo Tsavo, hiyo diamond tunatoanga Tsavo hivyo, tunaitaka ikue every Tuesday. We are mining na tunaitoa, tunaipeleka huko New York or whatever the case they are taking it from. Tukiitisha mpaka uitike. Na tutazidi kukupatia loan. That is the deal. Go read at it. I'm not making this stuff up. Hizi ni vitu watu wamesema. Kuna watu wameandika hizi vitabu wakatuambia vile wanafanya job. And they used to say it. We put our puppet there and we don't care about the corruption in that country. We don't care about the human rights violations. Atujali. Iendelee. Kama watu wanachinjwa wachinjwe. As long as sisi zile resources tunataka, tunapata. Tukisema tunataka masoldiers waende Haiti, immediately unatupatia na tunatuma. Wakiona ile vita ya Russia huko Urusi inaenda vibaya, huko Ukraine inaenda vibaya, tukikuja tukiwaitisha members of army, tunataka army karibu 10,000 soldiers waende nini Ukraine, utatupatia. And in order to do that, for us to legally do that, become a non-NATO ally. Because technically you cannot be NATO because you're not on the Western Hemisphere. But watakuita non-NATO ally. So watakuwa, okay, sign sahihi. Wewe ndio NATO wa hii Afrika. So tukisema tunataka majeshi 100 unatupatia. Twende. Wakisema Safaricom iishe ama tununue Safaricom, wananunua Safaricom. Wakisema mwezi kupanda maua mkipanda inakuwa maua ni ya through, mnanunua maua kutoka kwa hii company ya Amerikani ama ya company ya British. That's what you do. Lakini usijali Ruto. Hiyo taxes, pesa ya taxes na hizi tutakupatia loan. Actually, you know what this loan is? This is payment to these dictators. Ndio maana you had Jimmy Wanjigi alisema some of the loan that were taken to China haikufika hata nini, haikufika hapa consolidated fund. Ilienda diverted to some individual's bank account directly. Haikufika hata Kenya. Why do you think it is? It's payment for being a puppet. Ndio maana ukiona maandamano ikifika wanapewa hizo bunduki kali, wanapewa soldiers, hata wanaleta soldiers, wanapatia Museveni, wanaambia Museveni saidia huyu kijana hapa. Naona ako kwa shida, ako karibu kutolea. Museveni leta majeshi kidogo. Suluhu leta majeshi kidogo. Kuja usaidia hawa watu. That's how the game is being played. Kasmuel analeta upuzi hapa. Mlete Kasmuel. Na wanampatia option. Kasmuel na kuona unavaa suti hapa, okay, we see you're bright. You're talking good stuff. Okay, this is what we are going to do. This is the deal. Unataka kuwa mwanasiasa? We'll help you become the next MP of whatever. Choose any constituency you want. Tutakusaidia. Pesa tuko nayo. Tibim yenyewe tialala. What constituency do you want? Suti tutakupatia. Pesa tutakupatia. Uko na social media. We'll help that social media have 10.5 million followers. Hata tuta-expose internationally. Watu wakufuate. We'll help you. Lakini mambo ya Gen Z ati partyless nini, you cannot change the regime. But we know, we don't want people to suspect that you are an agent. So we just sema ati let's give Ruto time, let's do civic education. Say we do civic education, 2027 tutatoa Ruto. Just say that. Na tutakupatia pesa, tutakupatia nini kila kitu, suti na kadhalika. We shall help you do that. You continue with that. Na Kasmuel anaangalia hivi, Charlie, mimi niko 20 sijui ngapi. Nimependa madem, nini. I can be the man. Short time gains, long term losses. Anaingia hapo anakuwa ka puppet. Anakuja anawaambia, bas. Listen guys, now ukitaka maandamano you have to report to the collective. Charlie, huwezi kupost hizo maposta ati mnaenda maandamano. No. By the way, it is too dangerous kutoa Ruto saizi. It's too much. Let's give him time, but let's register to vote. Make sure you register your name and then mkachukue sijui huduma namba, chukua sijui ID so we can win the election 2027. Sasa story ni 2027. Tusimtoe saizi, wacheni mambo ya Bangladesh. We're not Bangladesh. Bangladesh walikuwa machizi. 2027 Africa, Charlie, IBC is already compromised. It's already compromised. Ruto ashatoa list yake, Raila ashatoa list yake. They already know who's going to be the IBC. Nyinyi mnaenda kupiga vote, wanaenda kutengeneza renew. They are going for referendum. Washapanga what kind of position they are going to create through the referendum. Nyinyi mnaenda kupiga vote ati we are voting against this nini. Mnaenda hapo, guess who's going to count the vote? Joseph Stalin aliwaambia, it's not the people who vote that determine the election. It is the people who count the vote. And guess who's going to be counting the vote? The IBC people. Hata kama inafanywa huko mashinani, watakuwa na agents zao ndio watakuwa nenio. Na hao commissioners ndio wataandika hao agents zao waende kwa huko mashinani, huko kwa voting center. Unaona vile game inachezwa? Ndio maana mimi nikisikia hao watu nakuja hapa hata kama wanavaa masuti, I just listen to them and nasema, what is their goal? That is the first thing you should ask yourself. What is he saying? Unaongea poa lakini what is your end game? Unataka kuwa tu politician uingie kwa bunge? Because you can't convince me at you. And that's one thing that I really, ndio maana, and I'm not going on this Caswell guy. Vile alisema ati it's easier to fight them when you are in the position ukiwa ndani. That's when I knew this guy is a con man. You cannot fight somebody ukiwa part of it. You cannot fight your way kama uko ndani ya supu. It's easier to fight them if you're outside, not uko ndani. Unasikia? So when somebody tells you that it's easier to fight them when I'm inside there, being part of the part, that's a faker, that's a liar. And somebody agrees with me. I'll tell you who agrees with me. Listen to me carefully. Nitawachezea hii kitu. Uni jamaa, he's a great Kwame Ture. I forgot his previous name. He was a great freedom Ninio fighter. Let me play you his Ninio. Listen to me. Listen to his speech. Kidogo tu. Nawafundisha. Labani niko na wewe. Like the video, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Tujifundishe. Learn something. Hapa si kuongea tu, tunajifundisha. Teaching you something that you need to know. Right, here it is.
Mercedes in Africa than in any other continent. With our struggle since the 60s, you will see nothing but betrayals by the petty bourgeois elements in our society. The African bourgeoisie is the most corrupt bourgeoisie in the world. In Africa, they seek luxury in the midst of mass suffering. There are more Mercedes in Africa than in any other continent in the world. In America, as soon as they arrive at a position based on the blood of the people, they snatch that position and run away from the people. But you must not think that they represent the people. They only represent their opportunistic self, using the people every step of the way. So you must not be confused. It must be clear then, for the 60s, the class struggle in the African Revolution must be more ruthless and uncompromising than in any other revolution. Here then the masses must come without pity and without mercy to trample upon these reactionary pigs who, after the people have gained struggle through their blood, come to hand back the gains on a silver platter to the very enemy the people fought. This will come as a natural consequence. The people themselves are everywhere screaming that it's time for them to deal with these reactionary pigs. Even in America, they say, our leaders must be held accountable. They're only saying here that these people must be accountable to those who made it possible for them to get there. Thus, not only is the revolution inevitable, but it is clarifying itself and it is qualifying itself. For the African masses everywhere, the clairpoised position now for class struggle has become inevitable and irreversible. The petty bourgeoisie everywhere will be running for cover, but the masses will spare them not. Consequently, we who have dedicated our lives to the people's struggle, we who, knowing that the people will always be free, we, understanding that we must make a contribution to qualify our struggle since the 60s, have been dedicating all our energies to only one task: the organization of the masses of our people. The organization of the masses of our people. We are not running for mayor. We're not running for president. No changes can come from the top down. We're not stupid.
Did you hear the last part of it? Hold on, I have to play it again. He said, hold on. He said, hold on. I have to repeat this. This is so powerful to me because this answers what everything that Makoure charlatan is telling you. He says something very interesting. And hold on. Come on. Can I find this? Where can I find? Where is my stuff? Why is my stuff messed up? Okay. Crap. I can't. Okay. Just excuse me, guys, for a minute. Poleni kidogo, poleni. I have to fix my stuff. Okay. The most powerful part. I'm sorry, my page was messing up. He said, we are not running for president, we're not running for mayor, we're not running for anything, because we understand changes do not start from the top to bottom. He never said bottom up, and I hate that word since Ruto started using it. But that's basically what he's saying. You cannot claim that when I become the president, I will bring change. When I become the mayor, I will bring change. When I became this, that is a faker. That's why he said, we do not look for positions. We are not running for mayor. We're not running for president. We're not running for senate. We understand change does not come from the top. Change has to come from the bottom. Gen Z was a grassroots movement, virtually grassroots. Tunaongea kwa internet, we were having our X spaces, then we said, let's meet up there, then let's remove this guy. And it was gaining momentum, and it started changing things. It was never Ruto. We were not waiting for Babu Owino, who has been an MP for I don't know how long. He hasn't done anything, but he wants to pretend to be in every movement that's there. You see what I'm saying? That's why when I was saying Kasmuel is a faker, he's talking about, I have aspirations of becoming a politician. Well and good, but guess what? And he was saying this was his argument, that once I become, because it's easier for me to fight for you guys when I get there than when I'm here. It's easier to fight for you guys when I'm in there, which is a freaking lie. Changes start from the bottom. Hapa pale tuko. Ukifika huko, already you've seen him rubbing shoulders with Sonko of all the people. That shows you what kind of person you're dealing with. You think that's the person who akifika huko, he starts rubbing shoulders with Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto, Raila, and these idiots that have been stealing money. You think he's going to bring change to the bottom? No, he'll buy him a new suit. That's the point I was making about this guy. He's a faker. Namski, and he's not the only one. I will play that one more time and listen to the end of it, because that's the most important thing that in that video where it highlights the importance of let me just start this other one. The importance of staying true. Ndio niliwaambia. Excuse me. There are so many people in this movement, but not everyone wako na intention nzuri. A lot of these people are actually a bunch of fakers. Wanakuja na kizungu nzuri, they can play a guitar, he's dressing the part, he's talking good, he's playing music, he can dance salsa, he's not for you. You're being impressed by that, but look at what he's up to. He cares about that stuff. The number one thing, if you see somebody, the way they present themselves, most of the real, true revolutionaries, they're people who never cared about their appearance. They're people who never cared about how you looked. In fact, most of them were not even eloquent. They were not even eloquent. Musa alikuwa kigugumizi. He could barely talk. But what they did, look at Nani. Look at what's his face? This guy is senator from Busia. He's not the most eloquent guy, but when he speaks, his words are powerful. Meguna, when he came out, akona ujasiri, strong, Luo, yeah. But what he said was so powerful, was resonating with everybody. It had nothing to do with his appearance, looks, the kind of car he drives, the talent he has singing. Shetani anakujanga na glitterati, ni glitterati. Nataka kuonyesha mimi niko na vitu. Yeah, I have so you can be wowed by their appearance. Excuse me. That's what I'm getting at. And I will play it one more time so you can get it. Because it's very powerful. You have to get it. You have to get it. Listen to this man again.
The African bourgeoisie is the most corrupt bourgeoisie in the world. In Africa, They seek luxury in the midst of mass suffering. There are more Mercedes in Africa than in any other continent in the world. In America, as soon as they arrive at a position based on this blood of the people, they snatch that position and run away from the people. But you must not think that they represent the people. They only represent their opportunistic self, using the people every step of the way. So you must not be confused. It must be clear then, for the 60s, the class struggle in the African Revolution must be more ruthless and uncompromising than in any other revolution. Here then the masses must come without pity and without mercy to trample upon these reactionary pigs who, after the people have gained struggle through their blood, come to hand back the gains on a silver platter to the very enemy the people fought. This will come as a natural consequence. The people themselves are everywhere screaming that it's time for them to deal with these reactionary pigs. Even in America, they say, our leaders must be held accountable. They're only saying here that these people must be accountable to those who made it possible for them to get there. Thus, not only is the revolution inevitable, but it is clarifying itself and it is qualifying itself. For the African masses everywhere, the clairpoised position now for class struggle has become inevitable and irreversible. The petty bourgeoisie everywhere will be running for cover, but the masses will spare them not. Consequently, we who have dedicated our lives to the people's struggle, we who, knowing that the people will always be free, we, understanding that we must make a contribution to qualify our struggle since the 60s, have been dedicating all our energies to only one task: the organization of the masses of our people. The organization of the masses of our people. We are not running for mayor. We're not running for president. No changes can come from the top down. We're not stupid.
No change comes from the top down. Naelewa. That's the message. That's where you have to get. It has to start. Oh, shoot. It has to start from the people. That's what he's trying to say. And that's what the majority of us miss. I think it makes a very powerful point that we have to grasp. Now, Ambia, be very wary. And that's what leads us to the next point, where we ask ourselves, where does that leave us as far as the Gen Z movement is concerned? Because even Francis Gaitho was like, oh man, I feel demoralized, you guys are believing in these fakers, because he's exposing these fakers, some of them who are receiving money and hatujui pesa imeenda wapi. It seems like all is lost. I'm trying to look at the X spaces that were really filled with people. Ulikonaona watu wameingia hapo, 12,000 people going to X spaces. Where are these X spaces? Where is the? I'm trying to reach out to Miguna, whatever. Where is the X spaces that he used to have with the other guy, whatever the case is, every Sunday, whatever the case is? Why are people so demoralized? Why is everyone stopping? Why is it? What happened? Where is everyone? Mambo ya Raila Ruto kwenda Kisumu just demoralize everyone. I mean, come on. India story inaendelea. Laban is telling us that Kenya is a multi-party democracy. Election is every 5 years. Yes, election is every 5 years, but guess what? If people are dissatisfied with the president and they want to remove the president before that 5 years imeisha, they can do that. They can do it through impeachment. And if they feel that their representatives through the legislative body are not to be trusted and have been compromised to a point where they cannot impeach the president, they can actually do it directly and represent themselves directly. And that's what the people of Bangladesh did. So, yes, it's not only 5 years. You're not guaranteed those 5 years. If you start your bull crap and you cannot govern, the people can represent themselves directly and remove you from power. And that's what they did with the legislative body on June 25th. So get a grip, Mr. Labani Misiani. That's what the people did on the 25th. Get it right. Get it right. Sir, get it right. That's what happened, okay? So anyway, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. We have to be wary. It seems like majority of the people who are really enthusiastic about this movement, Gen Z movement, they have all probably, majority of them have been compromised. Some of them abducted, killed, shot, whatever the case is. And now we are left with a bunch of people who are now don't really care about the movement. They're not advancing. Like I said, if the test is, you should ask them, why do you want to wait till 2027? Because the goal is to remove Ruto now, not in 2027. And if they tell you you have to wait till 2027, just know that this person is compromised, is a faker. Ruto should not last till 2027. He should be removed now. And I don't mean right now, but I mean right about now. Let's go to Miguna's page here. He says, 1 hour ago, he says, when Despot Uhuru Kenyatta was president and was abducting, torturing, murdering, and throwing bodies of Kenyans in River Yala, conman Raila Odinga and his zombified cows claimed that Uhuru Kenyatta was a great president, but his deputy, William Ruto, was the worst thief and tribalist in the world. After William Ruto became president, continued stealing and abducted, tortured, and murdered hundreds of Kenyans, conman Raila Odinga and his zombified cows now say that Ruto is the greatest, but that his deputy Rigathi is the worst thief and tribalist in the world. That's the definition of cowardice, selfishness, and conmanship. I called it out in 2011, and I continue to be vindicated over and over again. Hashtag Ruto na Raila must go. Absolutely. And that's true. Because if you remember, when Uhuru Kenyatta was doing all this stuff, everyone was blaming Ruto. Hey, Ruto ndio anapatia nani Uhuru stress. But the buck stops with Uhuru Kenyatta. But everyone, Uhuru ndio Ruto ndio stress, Ruto ndio nasumbua Uhuru, nini. That's what they kept on saying. Now Ruto has become the president. Now it's Rigathi Gachagua ndio mbaya. Oh no. Ruto is a good Ai, mnazungushwa kama mafala. ati sasa Rigathi ndio mbaya. When Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, everybody was trying to protect him. You know, Uhuru is a nice guy, but huyu Ruto ndio anampeleka speedy. He's the tribalist. Yeye ndiye anajaribu kukuninio, anafanya hizi corruption, yeye ndiye ako Aya. Uhuru ameondoka. Sai Ruto ameingia kwa serikali. Soon as he compromised these idiots, unasikia anasema, sasa Ruto ndio mbaya. Gachagua ndio shida. Gachagua ndio Gachagua is the tribalist. Gachagua ndio problem. The problem is Gachagua. Gachagua akikuwa president, yule mtu atakuwa deputy ndio sasa atakuwa mbaya. It's a game. It's a conmanship game. Gachagua, by the way, Ruto alikuwa ngasi mbaya. Ruto alikuwa ni mzuri saizi, lakini before vile alikuwa anachinja watu huko Nyalenda na Kondele, no. Lakini soon Anania amepewa AUC, majina ikapatiana, CS wakapeana. Sasa tuko fiti. Labani, ingia hapa watu tujadiliane. If you really feel that way, because you're not substantiating anything you're saying. He has been consistent. I've been following him since then. And there's nothing he has said that is contradicting what he has said right now. So for those of you mkitaka kuingia mseme hizo nini yenu, ingieni. Again, it's a very important point that has to be told again. Vile Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa president, vile aliingia kwa handshake na Raila, watu wakaanza kusema ati sasa wakina Raila wakaanza kusema ati Uhuru sio mbaya, shida ni Gachagua. Ni Ruto. Tukaendelea, Ruto akakuwa mbaya, Ruto akaingia kwa presidency. Ruto vile alipatia mtu nusu mkate kidogo. Sasa Ruto sio mbaya, ni Gachagua. Lakini jamaa, acheni mchezo bwana, acheni mchezo mwache, acheni. Speaking of which, hizi ni mchezo, lakini mtaendelea. You're going to fool. Hiyo ndio ubaya, you like fooling yourselves. Mnajidanganya, you buy into this nonsense and you wonder why you are in the same place ya kunyanyaswa, states ya kunyanyaswa na psychophancy, kwa sababu you can't think beyond your nose. Wewe unafikiri mimi nikishapata tu, unajua Kenya is a dog world. Wewe kama huwezi kupata ni shauri yako. Serikali ni mbaya, lakini wewe jitafutie. Hata kama ni wash ama kama unauza bangi, unafanya nini, bora upate yako. Wacha kucomplain ati the system is not working. Wewe tafuta yako. That's how things are. Tuko corrupt. Kwani ni shida nini? Kenyans we are naturally corrupt. That's the attitude yako. Instead of looking at it like hii system tukichange, we shall get majority ya wa Kenya kufanya the right thing. Wafuate kupenda sheria, wafuate sheria, na watu wengi watapata economic prosperity, kwa sababu the system will work to favor those who honestly work hard. Si ati mpaka utumie magendo ndio ukwae na pesa. Kila mtu anataka kuwa MCA, kila mtu anataka kuwa MP, kila mtu anataka kuwa rais, ndio ingia hapo upate nafasi ya kuiba pesa na ukwae billionaire. Wewe ni billionaire, lakini ukienda huko mashinani wamama hawezi hata there's no bridges, barabara huwezi kwenda. What's the point? Ndio watu wakupigia makofi wa kuheshimu. Mheshimiwa. Wanakuita mheshimiwa. This is stupidity of the highest order. Labani, ingia, nimekuwekea stop hapo, ingia utueleze, tuongee kiuba na gobaga. Wacha kusema mambo ya inciting hapa. Ndio hiyo ingia. Uniambie how we are inciting everyone. Unasema incitement kitu gani? Si uingie hapa tu Ingia. Laban, again, you don't know anything about history from what you're talking about, based on what you're saying. Have you ever heard of Walter Sisulu? Have you ever heard of Chris Hani? These are people who lived in exile outside of South Africa, but they were very influential. If anything, they were the reason why South Africa got free, why Nelson Mandela got free. And that's why we have a party called Umkhonto Isizwe. So, Labani, tafadhali, fanya, you need a brush up on your history. You're late. Wacha kusema ati watu na insight watu. Like I said, majority of these people of this country, in fact, South Africa, the reason why the majority, the most influenced, walipata usaidizi kutoka diaspora. Chris Hani had to leave South Africa. I know you don't know who Chris Hani is. Chris Hani ndio alikuanga mkubwa wa Umkhonto Isizwe. In fact, he was more influential than Nelson Mandela. Lakini alichapwa vitu. Same thing, Walter Sisulu. Walter Sisulu, I think he lived in London. Alikuwa na blog kama wewe. He was writing letters, writing in the newspapers. Help free. So ukitoa statement kama hizi, just shows me that you are ignorant. Ndio maana nakupatia link uingie uniambie vizuri, lakini umeshindwa because you can't. Wewe ni mtu wa kupiga makelele hapa sijui nini wewe. Now he's saying we are Kenyans, please. South Africa history is not ours. Kwani South Africa iko wapi? Where is South Africa? Is it in heaven? Yeah. Charlie. Ai. Ingieni mniambie, how are you inciting people? At inciting people. Ingia. Joseph, ingieni hapa mnasema ati sijui tunakuwa incitiwa. Sound like a bunch of cowards. Ingieni hapa to argue. Yeah, he is. And how are they going to? Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you. How are they going to get out of poverty? How are they going to get out of? Anyway, why am I paying attention to this guy? I'll start ignoring you because you're not saying anything. Ni jamaa troll. It's okay to troll. We admire your trolling, Ninio. You got my attention for a minute.
Kuna mtu hapa akona pesa ya kuafford house ya Ruto. Ruto anatuuzia bedsitter 1.79 million. Nani hapa ako na 1.79 million? Kwa hivyo nyumba anatujengea ama anatuibia? Anatujengea tuishi ama tukufe? Amepiga vijana wetu risasi. Leo amekuja hapa Kisumu hajaongelea hiyo. Kitu kingine, the young people wa Kisumu wapate opportunity. Vijana wamesoma hawana kazi. Yeye anatuambia mambo ya affordable housing. Ni nani hapa ana afford hiyo housing ya Ruto? Kuna mtu hapa akona pesa ya kuafford house ya Ruto? Ruto anatuuzia bedsitter 1.79 million. Nani hapa ako na 1.79 million? Kwa hivyo nyumba anatujengea ama anatuibia? Anatujengea tuishi ama tukufe? Amepiga vijana wetu risasi. Leo amekuja hapa Kisumu hajaongelea hiyo. Kitu kingine, the young people wa Kisumu wapate opportunity. Vijana wamesoma hawana kazi. Yeye anatuambia mambo ya affordable housing.
If you want to know that your president is quite useless, this young man is basically Ananinio is dismantling, deconstructing Ruto's lies for fun. It doesn't take, you don't have to be a genius. Just expose the nonsense that is promising people. Na unaona vile huyo jamaa na what's his name, Morara? See, that's easy. You don't need a genius. Ndio maana hata ukiita mtu kama Labana ingia hapa anze kuexplain vile watu wanakuwa incited. He can't. He can't. Because they know they have nothing to stand on. Alafu naanza kutuambia hapa sijui nini. Wewe Charlie boss. Charlie. You have to be serious with your life. Ama. All right, but anyway, let me play with this another video up. Let's not lose focus. We have to. Gen Z has to be activated.
Very well, and give them more money. We've set out to overthrow functioning constitutional democracies in over 20 countries. We manipulated elections in dozens of countries. We created standing armies and directed them to fight. We went after to organize ethnic minorities to encourage them to revolt. The first thing we did in Nicaragua was to go to the Mosquito Indians, who had never gotten along with the other people in Nicaragua very well, and give them more money than they had seen in the entirety of history, and arms and training and rationales and sanctuaries in Honduras, and sent them into Nicaragua to attack, kill, fight, rape, burn, pillage. And this is an insidious thing. Every society is torn with racial conflicts and conflicts with minorities. Think how violent our nation is. Think what if there were a superpower so big that we didn't dare even flat back or strike back at them, that were coming to our minorities with huge sums of money and arms and training people from our minority groups and sending them into the country to do open acts of violence, how we would rise up and the bloodbath that would ensue. And this has been a technique the CIA has used in Nicaragua, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos, in the Congo, in Iran, Iraq with the Kurds, in different parts of the world. We created, trained, and funded death squads like the Treasury Police in El Salvador that are responsible for killing as many as 70,000 people, according to the count of the Catholic Church. And we've assassinated world leaders, including the United States president in 1963, and I'll get to that in more detail in just a moment. Getting back to the subject of democracy, since that's something that Bush and everyone is talking about right now, I remind you of Chile. In 1973, the CIA organized the overthrow of Salvador Allende, the democratically elected president of Chile. And he was killed in the process, and we killed General Schneider, who was the pro-US defender of the Constitution there, in order to put the CIA's representative Pinochet in power. And Henry Kissinger's, when he was grilled by the Congress over this program, his rationale was, yes, the issues are much too important for the Chilean voters to be left to decide for themselves. Now, there was a long CI destabilization and propaganda campaign against China. We were parachuting teams from Quemoy, Matsu, Tibet, Burma, Thailand to destabilize China with the propaganda campaign, the propaganda aimed at the United States as well as China and other parts of the world, until eventually we talked ourselves into the Korean War, in which 1 million people were, where we fought China in Korea and 1 million people were killed. There was a long CI destabilization and propaganda campaign against Vietnam until we talked ourselves into going into Vietnam to fight, and 2 million people were killed. Again, read for yourselves. Read Bill Blum's book, The CIA, A Forgotten History. Read Portrait of a Cold Warrior by Joseph Burkholder Smith, who was a CI case officer in Southeast Asia. Read Fire in the Lake by Frances Fitzgerald, the daughter of Desmond Fitzgerald, the famous CI chief of operations of Southeast Asia. Read Deadly Deceits by Ralph McGehee, another case officer who served in Southeast Asia. Read Decent Interval by Frank Snapp, who covered the period of time in Vietnam, 73, 75. He and I were colleagues there at that time. Or if you will, read my own book, In Search of Enemies by Norton, which remains the only insider's detailed account of the inner functionings of a covert action. Or read Washington's War on Nicaragua by Holly Sklar, not written by an insider, but a remarkable detail on the Nicaraguan operation, great detail of how that operation has been run. Trying to come to grips with these CI activities and these broad numbers, trying to figure out how many people have been killed. You can count it up different ways. You can never be sure how many people are killed in the jungles of Laos or the hills of Nicaragua, but adding them up as best we can, we come up with a figure of 6 million people killed, minimum figure. It has to be more than that. 1 million in the Korean War, 2 million in the Vietnam War, 800,000 in Indonesia, a couple of million in Cambodia, 20,000 in Angola, the operation I was part of, 22,000 in Nicaragua, again, the figure the New York Times cites. You're dealing with large numbers of people who died, who would not have died if our tax dollars had not been spent by the CIA to exacerbate situations and destabilize and set people to fighting. So you began to analyze these figures to figure out who are these 6 million people we've killed. And again, that's a minimum figure. The conservatives tell us it's a dangerous world. Our enemies have to die so we can be safe and secure. Some of them say, I'm sorry about that, but that's the way the world is. We have to accept this reality. So you begin to study these things and rip through them and analyze them and break them apart, and you find some shocking common denominators come out to you. Namely, for example, since 1954, we do not parachute teams into the Soviet Union to destabilize the country in a brutal way. Coincidentally, 1954 was the first year the Soviets developed their actual capability of actually dropping atomic weapons on the United States. For other reasons, we don't do these things in England, France, Sweden, Norway, Belgium, Switzerland, etc. These things are all done in countries of the third world where the governments don't have the power to force the United States to stop destabilizing the country and brutalizing their people. These 6 million people killed are people of the Mitumba Mountains of the Congo and the jungles of Southeast Asia, and the hills of northern Nicaragua. Conspicuously, they're people who don't have ICBMs or armies or navies. They don't have any capability of doing physical hurt to the United States. The 22,000 killed in Nicaragua, for example, they're conspicuously not Russians. They're not Cuban soldiers or advisors. They're not even percentage-wise mostly Sandinistas. They're mostly rag-poor peasants, including a high percentage of women and children. Communists, I'm sorry, they're mostly Roman Catholics. Enemies of the United States, I can't give you that one either, because we have all these witnesses who've gone down to live in their villages with them, and they invariably come back to testify that the Nicaraguans are the warmest people on the face of the earth, and they love people from the United States, and they simply cannot understand why we would want, our leaders would want to rationalize spending $1 billion on a contraforce to go into their villages, to kill them and mutilate them while their families are forced to watch.
All right. I made this point the other day. I told you guys that the struggle to true freedom, if we are going to free ourselves, you're not going to go anywhere if you can't defend yourself. I'm sorry. I had people come here and tell me, oh, the problem with Kenya is the policies. Guess who's writing the policies? Ruto does not. When was the last time you saw Ruto in office amepiga picha is thinking about policy of how to help Kenya? Ruto is always on top of a car somewhere giving a speech. Ako Nyanza, ako sijui Mount Kenya, sijui ako wapi, anaambia watu hizo mastori zake za jaba. Holding town hall meetings. He never have time to work. Now, policies, economic policies, in fact, they are written by the IMF, the World Bank. So, number one, you have to get rid of them. Get rid of Ruto. Put somebody there who really cares about the constitution and cares about the interest of the people. And number two, whoever is going to be up there, he has to have a way to protect the country from Western influence. Number one, kick off everybody. Look at what Ibrahim Traore did. The first time when he got to the power, he kicked out everyone, the British, Americans, the French, all of them. And brought in the Russians to help him because he didn't have advanced weaponry and security systems to protect himself. He has survived 16 coup d'etats, assassination plots. To this day, the latest one being last week. But guess what? Burkina Faso is the fastest growing economy. Actually, yesterday it was announced that they have nationalized their gold mines, 2 of their gold mines. So every gold that they mine, it's going to be them, theirs, to benefit the people. And the people like him, Ibrahim Traore. Gaddafi, the reason why he got kicked out by NATO is because he agreed to dismantle his nuclear program. And guess who convinced him? Yoweri Kaguta Museveni told him, hey, listen, because Yoweri Museveni has always wanted to be the African giant. And the only person who was in his way was Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi knew the game. Gaddafi told in his speeches. Because Gaddafi at first thought that he was like an Arab, and he tried to reconcile with the Arab nations to bring them together. And he realized that the Arab nations, majority of the nations are puppets. And they rejected him. So he turned into Africa. He said, hey, let's start our own United States of Africa. Have the same money, same all that stuff. And while he was working on that, the US said, hey, Museveni, we are going to pick you to dismantle this guy. And as soon as he gave up his nuclear program, NATO came after him. They lied to him. Oh, you know what? Now you are off our terrorist list. All you have to do is just give up your nuclear program. Give it up. And you can come. You'll be in our good books. We'll trade. We'll open whatever trade. Bull crap, bull crap, bull crap. And as soon as he did that, NATO came after him. And Gaddafi was out. Dead. Now look at Libya today. Is it better than it before? So you have to understand, in order for you to stand independent, you have to. Russia is offering help. I know some people are wary about Russia. And yes, Russia has to, you have to offer something to Russia. They're not going to do it for free. They're not going to sacrifice their soldiers for free. You have to give up something. And they tell you what. But you know what? In the long time, you'll have your sovereignty. You'll maintain your sovereignty and you'll have control of your resources. I told you. Putin helped Mnangagwa and Machel in the 70s when he was working for KGB. He was helping African nations become independent, while the US and British and the West were busy colonizing Africa. Putin said, listen, these guys are fighting me, and guess where they're getting their money and their resources? Africa is where they're getting it. So help me help you. I used to help you. Russia does not need anything from Africa. Russia is rich in natural resources. They didn't build their economy depending on Africa. They're still selling uranium to US. Do you know that? Gases? Go check it. US sanctioned Russia of everything, but not uranium. Russia can still sell US uranium and some gases. We talked about the Nord Stream. It was bombed so that Germany cannot buy their gas from Russia. So the US can sell their gas to NATO at a higher price than the Russians were. So when you try to tell that to your average African homeboy who has been westernized in their mind, they're like, oh no, Russia is like, oh my God, Putin is evil. Okay, he might not be an angel, but guess what? He can help you become independent and become someone who cannot be bullied by the West. That's why they started this thing, BRICS. China can stand alone and go to war with whoever. Guess who helped them? Russia. And that's the same offer Russia is helping. Putin understands that. Let me empower these Africans before I get out of the way. He's not going to live forever. He's offering it now. Because tell me, I told you this the last time. The West was okay with the apartheid government having nuclear power and they were developing nuclear weapon. But as soon as Mandela and the ANC won the elections and came to power, the Black African came to power. The first thing that they told them was to undo their nuclear program. No more nuclear energy. No nuclear power. No. And the second thing they did was like they told Mandela and Ramaphosa, hey, listen, our interest has to be maintained. All those diamond mines, gold mines will remain in our names. Nothing is going to be nationalized to help the indigenous Black population. Know the name of the game. You are still a colonial stooge until you take total care, responsibility, ownership of your country, you are always going to sing to the tune of the West. That's why Meg Whitman can come to any Kenyan media platform and shit on you, and you're going to do nothing about it. And the president will clap. That's the sad truth. So deprogram your mind into thinking that only West can help you become independent. They talk about all this nonsense about, oh, we want to give you loans so you can build your infrastructure so you can be independent. No, those loans are not designed to help you become independent economically. They are designed for you to stay in debt in exchange for your sovereignty. Give up your economy, your laws. The laws will be made to be advantageous to the international corporations. That's the name of the game. Get it right. So that's, and they have money. They don't make money. Sorry, they don't have to work for their money. These people print money in exchange for your real life wealth. That's the biggest scam ever. That's why buying people like Hasmuel and all these useless kids that think that they're cool because they can speak English, it's not a hard thing for the West. You already look the part. You want a new suit? I'll give you another suit, a more expensive one. You want an Instagram following? I'll give it to you. You want a political position? I can make that happen because guess what? We ran these elections. You heard that gentleman say. Who do you want to meet? Elon Musk? Paris Hilton? You saw Hassan Joho hanging out with Paris Hilton. Did you see that? I've been telling you, Hassan Joho is a CIA agent. Without getting into much details, this is how I want to make you understand that he's an agent. Saitoti named him. Where did Saitoti get his report? Hassan Joho and what's his name? Sonko, Harun Wau, and what's his face? This guy from Mlima, Kenya. I forgot his name. He named them. A few weeks or days or months after that, Saitoti died. We all know who was behind that. But Saitoti named that he got his information from what? American Intelligence Agency. Go listen to Amkeni. Amkeni was exposing Hassan Joho in Mombasa. He said he went to his trial in New York, in a federal court in New York, where Hassan Joho and his brother and what's his name? Something. The drug dealer that was killed in Akasha, whatever his name is. The connection between the two. Go to Amkeni, Dr. Amkeni in YouTube. Go the Neo. They have the evidence of this guy doing that. And that guy gave a witness. He said, hey, these guys are selling this stuff. Joho is running around, walking around still in Kenya with all that evidence. He did not get locked up in US. Taking picture with Paris Hilton. Who do you think he is? Chalinika, CIA agent. And not only that, now he is a CS of what? Marine, Blues, Unini, whatever. So everything that comes to Kenya, Mombasa in the port, Hassan Joho knows. Guess what they'll be bringing in Kenya? You do the math. Is it a coincidence they met with Sonko, who also was named in that report as somebody who was made his money through drug dealing? Sonko did not meet the CS of Marines of Blue Economy before that. But as soon as Joho became that, he went and paid him a visit. What do you think they were discussing? Because Joho now knows everything that comes to that port of Mombasa. And that port of Mombasa is also under scrutiny because there's a case that Okoa Mombasa is also have. So I'm just telling you, we are being ruled. We're being colonized by the West. That's why we have this corruption. And like I said, if you read this book, you'll understand. They tell you this is what you want: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. As long as you have control of your lawmakers, your judges, and your president, will write your laws and will write your policies. Nyi mkitaka kuiba, mkitaka kuuana, do that. Just keep it fairly stable so we can be able to extract our resources and human resources. Why do you think Ruto is talking with so much Nini Gatso? Look at the opposition. Who's the real opposition in Kenya right now? Who's the real opposition besides Okiya Mtata? Nyinyi nafikiri ni jokes. Ndio maana nasema, even as we fight to have a new government, kutoa Ruto, the people that are shouting the most, that are talking about let's remove Ruto, we should vet them and look at what they're about. Anybody who sounds a little bit funny, do not trust them. This shit is deep. Tell me about Joseph Beidas. Absolutely. Everybody. Yeah, I told you. Hata mimi nikianza kuongea hivi, if you feel funny, vet me. You say, hey, Charlie, lakini wewe lengo yako ni nini? You're talking all that stuff hapo kwa hiyo channel yako. What are you up to, Kenya Rebel? Unataka wa senator? Ama ni ma likes tu ndio unataka, ama tukutumie shida yako ni nini? You know, that's what you should be asking. And I would take offense. Go look at my videos. Enda kwa video zangu zote in my channel. Go look at them from the get first. Nilikuwa nachapa video kwa, nilikuwa nimeparara, niko kwa gari, nimetoka job. I'm shooting my videos, saying what I think. Look at my videos now in my lives. Angalia if I'm contradicting myself. I'm not running for anything. Mistaki, kama nataka kuwa mwanasiasa, muende kama mka kwa siasa. Mtaka do, mistaki yo pesa yenu, endele na yo pesa yenu. I can make my few bucks hapa. Watu nitumia ka shilingi 3 hapa. I appreciate that. Or people getting into chat na tuna exchange ideas. That's more valuable than any dollar amount or pound or shilling that you can ever give me. But once you get the knowledge, now you know how you can fight the enemy. Ndio maana when I hear people talking about Gachagua, you're wasting time. Gachagua sio shida. Miguna amekwambia hapo. Anyway, but you get the point, right? That's why it's so important to kutoa Ruto. Anyone who's telling you 2027, you'll not succeed in 2027. You will not succeed in 2027. You will not. IBC imesha setiwa, wamesha set watu wao IBC. Hauendi kushinda IBC, hauendi kutoa Ruto nini 2027. That's why you see people like Labani are saying 2032. Uhuru never won any presidential election, by the way. He never won the election. He was never a legitimate president. But alikaa hapo what 10 years. Na mlifanya nini? Mlimtoa. And all that time alikuwa na kunywa and he was cussing you guys out. Anawafinya, anawapeleka kwa ninio jela. Because the system favors him. Until mwamue mseme enyewe kama ni kukufa tukufe, lakini things have to change. We have to kick out these people. That's when we will see the change. Until then, tutaingianga hapa Twitter tunatukanana. Nyi Wajaluo mko hivyo, nyi Wakikuyu mko hivi, nyi Wakalenjin mko hivi, Gachagua, Babu Owino. The most corrupt people that are part of the problem. Nyi mko hivi, nyi mko hivi. So the tribe, and it sounds cute. I mean, I can come here and talk about, sometimes who are me divert kidogo. I can come here and get into the, like, niingie kwa hizo nitty-gritty ya politics ya Kenya. That's why I usually don't entertain it much. Siku ile sina content and I'm like, all right, let's talk about this because everyone is talking about it. I'll talk about it. Mambo ya Gachagua. Babu Owino, you think Babu Owino is going to be the next kingpin? I'll entertain that for the sake of a conversation. But tukianza kutafuta solutions, these people are not the solutions. They're not the solution. Tutaingia hapa, Gachagua. Unajua Gachagua akishikana na sijui Kalonzo na Uhuru atampatia pesa, sijui nini. 2027 itaenda kwa mlima, watu wasijui wa Coast watashikana hivi, washikana hivi. It's a waste of freaking time. The game is rigged. It's rigged, folks. Mpaka mjitoe in numbers to remove William Samoei Ruto and the legislative body and the judiciary. Most importantly, it's the executive and the legislative body. Judiciary tunaweza kuipanguza tukishaingia huko. But until then, mchezo ya sijui tunaanza we just do it because it's in the news. And I use that to bring your attention into the real issues. You say mtaanza kuniambia, uko Nyanza province ulisikia CS Owalo, sijui ulisikia CS sijui nini, ulisikia sijui Net Mohamed, ulisikia sijui nani, sijui Hassan Joshua alisema nini? It sounds entertaining, but it's stupid. It doesn't add any value or change. It's a distraction, to be honest with you. But I have to use that to bring you into focus, into the bigger issue, which is not only the president who sits there. It's the constitution that we do have that actually makes us a nation state, a constitutional democracy, a rule by the people that have agreed to rule themselves based on this covenant we call the Constitution. And anyone that violates it, whether it's the executive, whether it's the legislative body, whether it's the judiciary, tunamtoa. Angalia sijui alikuwa ex-governor sijui Lino Call sijui nini. Alishikwa for stealing sijui 73 billion. Ametoa bail ya 10 billion. Ametoka. They say be wary of the three alphabets, foreign entities, CNN, FBI, CIA, BB, Black Beta, BLB, BBC. Yes. Yote. Absolutely. Wajiko, you're right. Mkiambiwa mnasema ni conspiracy theory. Nitawasaidia namna gani? How long shall I be with you? How long shall I be with you? Lakini that's why we have this channel. Mimi nitakuwa peke yangu nizungumze hapa, mnijoin tuongee. Mkitaka unirushia do mrushie do nikanunue nio. Kinena kahawa, whatever the case is. But at least somebody learns something. Because what I realize is most Kenyans, but a lot of people aren't getting to know this. But the most important thing, as we fight Ruto's regime and we are seeking to have a new regime, let us vet. Hao watu wanakuja hapa na masuti zao na sijui nini, and they're talking real nice. Kalonzo unaona excuse, Kalonzo anajifanya yeye ni Gen Z. Unaona vile Kalonzo anajifanya Gen Z saa hizi. Vet these people. Waangalie vizuri. Wakianza kuongea if their goal is not the same as the goal of what the majority of Kenyans want, wachana now. Anyway, there's other platforms that are going to run their show today, so you can go to those platforms. I support them too. No, support this one. Hapa tutaongea real stuff. Wanjiku, thank you so much. Joseph Baidas na wengine weo, KK na wengine weo, hata Labana, hata wewe. They convinced Ukraine to give up her nukes. Years later, they've taken over and running down Ukraine through a proxy war with Russia. Absolutely. Walitoa Ukraine by the help of George Soros. That's another deep story. The Orange Revolution. One day I might do an international show hapa tusifanye Kenya tu peke yetu, so we can get into stuff, deep stuff. And I hope Wanjiku will join me and others. We'll do that one of these days. But for now, I just want you to understand that this is a multifaceted fight you're fighting. The step one ni kutoa Ruto. Anyone that tells you otherwise anakuenjoy. Ruto mpaka waende. And when I say Ruto, I don't mean Ruto the person peke yake alafu ati Gachagua na baki. No. Gachagua, Ruto, and the all executive ya Kenya ishie. The whole of legislative body, parliament. Na hii mambo ya sijui ati kuchange constitution, reject it. I don't care kama tuko na representative 10,000. Reject all that amendment wanajaribu kuleta. They're just using that as a pretext to change the constitution. Alafu walete zile NADCO report ambao walikuwa wameninio. Do not buy into that. The constitution should be implemented, not amended. Implemented, not amended. As I finish. So nitawachia na hiyo because I know we can go deeper, but today is not the day. There'll be other platforms. Kuna platforms zingine pia watakuja live. Mwende hapo mkasikie wamama wakilialia Ruto, Raila is nice, Raila ameenda, Raila atashinda AU. But you'll get nothing out of it. Ama tuanze kuagi mambo ya Babu Owino will be the kingpin. Gachagua is going to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya. Opiyo Wandayi is the man. We can argue about that. It's fun. It's entertaining. But that's not the real problem. KK, I see you. That's the real problem. Ndio maana mimi nataka kumfocus that's what I liked about this Gen Z movement. I told you. Mimi sikuanza Gen Z. I never knew about Gen Z. Gen Z linipata in the middle of my journey. Saying these things. I rode the wave. The wave ilinipata ikani. Na ikienda it's okay. Tutabaki hapa na watu watatu, tutaongea mambo yetu na tutaendelea. With or without support, tutajisupport. Kitaka kunisupport, hey. Thank you. But mimi nasema hivi. The focus has to be, if you want a better Kenya, tuko na constitution ambayo it fits us, it can benefit us. It's designed for us. Let's not change it. I don't care. Hata kama ni kuna dot moja ambao watu no. Wakina Eric Omondo nasema, oh, it's too expensive. No, it's not expensive. Tuko na pesa ya kutosha kulipa ma MCAs. senators, MPs, watu wako, as long as you're doing atumia vizuri and they're doing their job, wacha walipwe. I don't care. Hata amaru women rep. But constitution mpaka ikuwa implemented. Because hawa majamaa wamekata ku-implement the constitution. Waikwa says something really nice in his Twitter page. Twitter in your tweets today. Alisema the whole point of hii constitution ilikuwa tu ninyo, decentralized power, so people can stop mythifying this presidential figure. Because zamani ilikuwa Moi ilikuwa naingia hapa nasema okay, development aleta hapa, barabara wajenge hapa, barabara wajenga. Ruto is still doing the same, but that's not his job anymore. Lakini anawa enjoy because majority of people don't understand the constitution. That's why Mbadi is standing there and say, Ruto ukisema hivi mimi nitapiga sahihi, ukisema tufanye hivi nitapiga sahihi, pesa itolewe. That's not his job. Parliament inafaa ku approve any project, pesa vile yetu vile natumiwa. But this is a discussion for another day. Najua wewe unasema civic. No, there's no civic education that's needed. The number one step is toa Ruto and the whole executive and the legislative body. Tukishamtoa tuweke gava ambayo itafundisha watu about civic education. Siku za Moi tulikuwa tunasikia mawimbo zinaimba Kenya inchi yetu, Kenya inchi yetu, inchi yetu tunaipenda. That was civic duty. Tunasema Kenya, patriotism. Tunalearn about patriotism. Unfortunately, he wasn't singing about the corruption that he was being involved in. By the way, apparently 2 days ago, Reuters reports that Ukraine will continue to honor Russian oil contracts to Europe. Allah? Yeah. Unajua wakina nani wako kwa hiyo nini hizo ma contracts? Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi. Wanjiku usinipeleke kwa hiyo deep rabbit hole. Usifungue maneno hapa. We can go there, lakini si leo. Leo nataka niwawache muende kwa zile channel zingine musikie vile watu na they want to talk about how Ruto is messing up the country, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, at some point, what are the solutions? The only thing I want to emphasize too is tusikufe moyo. I see a lot of people are very discouraged by this whole watu wa Nyanza, Raila, all this bullcrap. This perception is a narrative that they're trying to paint, and they're using their mainstream media to paint, and their bloggers to paint that, you know what, Raila ameshikana na Ruto and it has killed the Gen Zs. That's the biggest lie ambao wanajaribu kuletea. We can still be strong without Raila. Hata kama Raila akona Ruto, we can still both remove them. Let's rejuvenate. Let's get some new faces, okay? Let's get some new faces of this Gen Z movement. Let's go back to our ex-spaces. I'm sorry. Kama Kamuzi wamewacha, wakina Otero wamewacha, it's okay. Wakina Hanifa, Mwangi, sijui nani. Let's start a new face. Hawa watu walikuwa watu wajui before hizo Gen Z. There's a new face. Wakina Kasmuel, there's a new face. Leteni faces zengine. Hii struggle haijaisha. Kwa sababu gani? And let's maintain and remain partyless, leaderless, tribeless, and the fourth one, which I say, faceless. Tuwe face mingi mingi. Mimi nikiongea hapo, Wanjiku anaongea hapo, KK anaongea hapo, Yusuf Bedas anaongea hapo, sijui nani anaongea hapo, you don't know who's who. Lakini sote tunaongea. So hata DCI akijaribu kushika na shika nani? Sijui nishike Kenya Rebel ama nishike Wanjiku, nishike Yosef, nishike KK, nishike nani? We don't know where this is coming from. That's what I'm talking about. Lakini tusikufe moyo. Hii struggle, it's a marathon. Hii si sprint. Hautaimaliza kesho. Hata tukitoa Ruto tuweke president mpya, lazima huyo president pia tumwangalie, to make sure yeye pia na implement hii katiba, kwa sababu yeye pia anaweza kununuliwa. Whitman atamwendea mwambie kuna milioni 100 hapa ya dola, fanya hivi na tunakupatia hii na fanye hivi. So we have to mpaka iendelee. Ni kama Ukristo. For those of you who are faithful, huwezi kusema ati I'm saved now, saa mambo mzuri, wacha nikarudi niendelee na maisha yangu. No, you have to follow up. Ishi hiyo maisha ambayo Biblia inasema. Kama ni pombe, wacha. Wanawake, wacha. Kama wanaume, wacha. Whatever the case is, be holy. Same thing na hii movement. Hii ni kitu, ni lifestyle, ni lifetime movement. Hii sign up ati minta sign up Tuesday nitoke Friday. Hii ni lifetime. Tunaitaka kuimaintain. Tukishaishinda to maintain. New faces. Ex-faces ziko wapi? Chali, mko wapi? Mimi sioni ma ex-faces. Watu wamekufa moyo. Kila mtu ukisikia anasema guy sijui Wajaka wameingia serikali, sasa tufanyaje? No. Who told you that? There are thousands of Wajaka, if not millions, ambao they are not buying into what is happening. There's thousands, if not millions, of Wasaperi ambao they're not buying what's happening. Wacost, Wakamba, all that. I was saying, they're done. Our leaders, they're done. Wanatafuta retirement package. Ndio maana unaona wanashikana pamoja to just renew their interest. So msikufe moyo. Mimi mtaongea hata kama kuna mtu, hata kama hakuna mtu. Mimi kuna subscriber mmoja, in fact I had no subscribers. Kuna ongea peke yangu hapa, watu wakaingia watatu. Now I'm exchanging ideas with people because it resonates. People didn't know about me. Spread the word. Let's get it. Let's get talking. Mr. Kutengeza video hapa za propaganda ati serikali ni hivi. Mimi nasema tufuate constitution yetu. Isichangiwe. Let's make a better Kenya. Ile Kenya niligrow up hata kama nilitoza under Moi. Chali tunaenda kucheza ball, tunacheza na Waluya, Wajaka, Wakikuyu, Wakamba. We didn't care. We were a team. Tulikuwa tunacheza, tumeenda drama school, sijui nini. We enjoyed that. Sasa sisi ni watu wazima. Why can't you build a better Kenya for us and our kids? That's the point. And the only way to do that is what? Tunaanza hapa na communication. So mi hata ka platform yangu ni kidogo hivi, come here tuongee. You don't have to talk to me ati uingie kwa studio. You don't have to. Naweza kuingia kwa chat to, I'll blow up your chat, tunaongea. Spread the word. Watu wanataka kuingia waongee, that's fine. Exchange ideas. Create those spaces, watu wafungue roho, wazumze. Msikufe moyo. Ruto kukutana na Raila or Nyanza province, whatever, that doesn't determine anything. Revolution inakuja. And revolution haichukuangi siku moja. So do not give up. If there's anything you can take from this session, Gen Z, Gen Zote, because this is not a Gen Z age group. Gen Zote, do not give up. Wachana hawa kina Kasmul waishie, wachana hawa kina Boniface Mwangi waishie, wakina Hanifa waishie, wakina Kamuzi, Kimuzi, whatever his name is waishie, wakina sijui nani waishie. Let's have new faces and let's get together again. Twende round yengine. Hawezi kutuwa sote. We're not inciting anyone. We are basically saying we want a better country. We cannot go ahead with the current crop of irredeemably corrupt politicians. Ama namna gani? Na kuona AEI. That's the spirit. So spread the word, share, subscribe to this channel, support the channel. Kutuma kashilingi, kado, kaninio. You don't have to. I actually encourage people not to. Unless you feel like it's, hey, bali chali. Here. Spread the word. But it's free 99. Ingia hapa free. Don't feel pressured over nothing. Kuja useme maneno yako. Spread watu waingia hapa. Kuna machaneli zengine, they can go talk. Because kila mtu si lazima ati tuongee about the same thing. Kuna hata hizo stories za Kalonzo, Gachagua, they're also important anyway. Kila mtu unaichapa siasa vile ile level unaiona. Because there's nobody with wrong ninio. It's about perception. Unaweza kuiona hii angle kwa sababu this is where you are seeing it from. Mimi naiangalia from this angle kwa sababu this is how I see it. Unaona? I usually look at it from the international angle. Naangalia how does Kenya relate to the world. what are the real forces behind Ruto, and kwa sababu hatuwezi kuwa liberated. Ukiangalia country yetu, GMOs na hizi money vitu zitu hizo mashindano wanataka kutuchapa, hizo sijui monkeypox wanataka kuleta. Who are really bringing this? Hizi ni mafikiri za Ruto? No, they're coming from outside. That's where I'm coming from with it. Kuna wengine watasema, Ruto sijui nini. Babu Wino Gachagua. It's fine. So go to all those platforms, support them, share, like, comment, and all that. It's okay. It's a different perspective. We are fighting it different ways, okay? Mina wachapia tu kile angoli yangu. Ama niaje? Anyway, guys, subscribe, share, comment, and do all the good stuff. I've been here for 2 hours. Watching this shit. Chelsea wame draw 1-1. I wasn't happy about it, but that's another story for another day. Wanjikwe tutaongea siku ingine ile story dipa ya Ukraine na mambo ingine. Ama niaje? So subscribe, share, like, comment, and share this channel. And support the channel. If you want to support it, hey, kauna ishi US, hata kuna kobole, hey, $5. I'm gonna throw you some. Whatever. I appreciate it. Thank you. You don't have to. You're not obligated to. But thank you so much, guys. I have to go. Thank you. And I'll talk to you later. Peace and blessings. I'm Maniaji. Tunane next time.